Ladies and gentlemen, hello and welcome to the 16th Annual Bob Rose Lecture presented by the RACV Club in conjunction with the Robert Rose Foundation and supported by the Melbourne Press Club. My name is Sarah Allen. It's a pleasure to host you on what is a quiet old day in Australia. Not much going on today, is there? Now, while I can't tell you who will be leading this country by the end of today, what I can tell you is we have a fantastic afternoon ahead of us as we hear from a pioneer of the Australian arts and media industry, Kim Williams AM, who will deliver the Bob Rose Lecture, followed by respected businessman and former AFL CEO, Andrew Demetrio, who will deliver the response and vote of thanks. Two men who have achieved great success in their respective industries and no doubt have you captivated this afternoon. So please join me in welcoming Kim and Andrew today. Now, there is probably only one other event that would have Melbourne talking as much as a leadership spill, and that, of course, is a Collingwood and Richmond grand final. Can you imagine Melbourne? Now, that is a reality. Next Sunday is exactly what's happening in the inaugural season of the AFL wheelchair competition. Richmond will be playing Collingwood in the grand final. Let's hope it's a sign of things to come in the AFL. And I'll be chatting to two of the stars from Collingwood and Richmond shortly, and we're looking forward to that. And of course, the main reason we're all here today is to support the amazing work of the Robert Rose Foundation, which supports those living with trauma, spinal cord injuries and their families. As many of you will know, Robert Rose had a bright future ahead of him. A brilliant sportsman who played for both Collingwood and Footscray when he became a quadriplegic at the age of 22 following a car accident. The Rose family, led by Robert's father Bob, in which today's lecture is named after, led the way in creating the foundation, and we will hear from Robert's brother Peter shortly to give an update on the work that they're doing at the moment. Now, there are a lot of special people and organisations who have given up their time to support this great cause, so please do hold your applause until the end, but join me in welcoming some special people in the room today. To the representatives of the Rose family, great to see such a strong presence in the room. Peter Rose and his partner, Christopher Menz, Robert's uncle, 1958 premiership player, former Collingwood captain and club president, and Robert Rose Foundation director, Kevin Rose, and his partner, Pamela Watkins. Kevin's daughter and foundation director, Natalie Rose Harwood, and her husband, Craig Harwood. And we have a couple of apologies today. Robert's daughter, Sally Caruana, and Robert's mother, Elsie Rose, are apologies. Elsie, unfortunately, she's been to most lectures, but she's not well enough to join us today, and we send her our best wishes. To fellow directors of the Robert Rose Foundation, including the chair, Derek Young. Welcome to you, Derek. There's a strong contingent from Collingwood today, the Collingwood President Eddie Maguire and fellow members of the Collingwood Board and also members of the Collingwood CBD Group and their guests, welcome. To the Director of RACV, Graham Willis, thanks for being with us today. Members of the Melbourne Press Club Board and guests, including Club Chief Executive Mark Baker and President Adele Ferguson. To representatives from the AFL, including Andrew Dillon, Elizabeth Lucan, Stephen Mead and Jude Donnelly and your guests, thanks for being with us. And also to those from AFL Victoria. We also have many guests from other AFL clubs, including the Western Bulldogs, GWS and Hawthorn Football Club. So we hope you enjoy the afternoon. To the players of the Wheelchair AFL competition, the inaugural season, thanks for being with us today and well done on a fantastic first season. To representatives from Disability Sport and Recreation Victoria, which has partnered with AFL Victoria and the Robert Rose Foundation to stage the inaugural season of the AFL wheelchair competition. We also have many friends from the media with us today, from The Age, Editor-in-Chief Alex Lavelle, Sports Editor Greg Baum, Chief Football Writer Jake Niles, Senior Football Writer Michael Gleeson and Football's First Lady Caroline Wilson, as well as from 3AW Tim Lane, who is a previous lecturer. Welcome to Peter Turner from Independence Australia and his guests, to representatives from Minter Ellison Lawyers and their guests, Carol Fox, the President of Women in Sport Australia, former Matilda and Deputy CEO of Professional Footballers Association, Catherine Gill, former Richmond Premiership ruckman Michael Green joins us again, and of course welcome to RACV members and guests. That is a huge list, but you all very special to the Robert Rose Foundation, so please join me in welcoming our special guests today. Now, the Robert Rose Foundation is the principal sponsor of the inaugural AFL wheelchair competition, and we have players here from all clubs today: Collingwood, Richmond, Hawthorn, Essendon and St Kilda. A fantastic turnout. But as I mentioned earlier, it is all about Collingwood and Richmond as they prepare to take each other on in the grand final next Sunday. So as we welcome to the side of the stage the Collingwood captain and coach Brendan Stroud and Richmond star Yasmina Mcglone, please turn your attention to the screens and check out some of the work from the league's best players. Fantastic stuff there. Now, Brendan, there was a big shot of you smiling at the end, as if you wouldn't be. Undefeated, first season as Collingwood coach and captain. You must be pretty confident going into the grand final next Sunday.
Yeah, I'd like to think I'm pretty confident. Got a great team. Richmond's a fantastic team as well. So I'm always smiling being Collingwood captain and coach. So it's been a dream come true for me.
Now, the grand final preview was last weekend. Richmond lost to Collingwood. But Yasmina, you told me a little earlier that you're pretty confident going into the grand final next week.
Yeah, definitely. I just think, we didn't want to put all our cards on the table. So we just gave them a sneak peek. And yeah, I think we've definitely got more to give on Sunday.
You've been holding back all your secret weapons. Now, how does a Scottish girl end up playing Aussie rules football?
Yeah, I guess at first I was friends with Jude, who I play with, and I came down to watch him in the Touring League, and I watched them play, and they were just amazing. And then through that, I met Brendan, and me and Brendan, we just caught up one time, and he actually asked me to come along to the draft. But I think in his head, he was expecting me to be recruited to his team. But yeah, I've ended up playing for Richmond instead.
Not only did he not recruit you to Collingwood, but you're playing for the arch enemy. Brendan, that didn't really turn out how you'd planned when you took Yasmina out for a beer a year ago.
Yeah, I should have gave her a couple of more beers, but I know I was legless, but anyway. She's been fantastic, and the way she's just put herself all in, and how beautiful she is. She's really a tiger inside. Though the Magpies would peck her at her. Last week's game was a great little, I suppose, synopsis into what's going to come into the grand final. I don't think any of our teams on that day put our best fives on until virtually the last quarter. So it was still good for Collingwood to come away from 11-point winners, and we hope to come by a little bit more in the grand final. But it'll be a great game. Yaz is just, she may look beautiful, and she is. She's a girl who will just rip the ball out of your hands, and if you don't have the ball, she'll rip anything off your hands. So she's fantastic, and she was best on ground as far as I was concerned last Sunday for both teams. She just puts everything in and scares the hell out of the guys, I think. So she's great. So.
Brendan, you've coached a lot of young players coming through in wheelchair football. Tell us a little bit about what it means to have this competition up and running in the inaugural season and where it can go from here.
I'll go back about 3.5 years ago when we first started Wheelchair Aussie Rules, and we had 8 players. We were struggling to get even 8 to train, and having 4-on-4 when you want to play 5-on-5 is really hard. So they were having the games, the nationals here in Victoria, and I think it was South Australia put up, hey, do you want to put a team in? Of course, home of football, why wouldn't we want to put a team in? So we had about 7 weeks to train. So I got a lot of basketballers put together, and a few other players who are new to the sport. Muzz, who is captain and coach of the St Kilda team, and a couple of other players, and we ended up getting silver that year, so we were great from us. And Richard Damon from the Disability Sport and Recreation, he's a player who's been playing for the last 3.5 years as well, and Tim Neild, who's also now in AFL Victoria, or AFL now, he's played a couple of times as well last year, coached. So from there, it's just grown and grown and grown and grown. So when Collingwood came on board late last year and the other 4 teams followed, it's just gone huge. We probably weren't expecting it to come on as hard and fast as it did, but it's come on fantastically. I think it's sat really well with everybody to where it can grow to. So hope to have a few more teams on next year. Hope to have a social competition coming up in the next probably month or so, so people don't get sitting home playing Xbox and getting weary, so get out and do something. So it's growing really fast for us. So.
And you both can touch on this, but it's not just about the football, is it? It's also a positive outlet for some individuals who would have gone through some challenging times.
I can say from my own personal view, sport has been my saviour in my life. There's times where I've battled depression through a lot of parts of my life. And before my accident, I've always been an athlete: boxing, kickboxing, football, cricket, taekwondo. I had my car accident at 22 as well. I was a quadriplegic when I had my accident. It was incomplete break of my neck. I was very lucky to get the use of my arms back. And finding sport through Disability Sport and Recreation was my saviour. So sport is a big mental saviour for a lot of people, getting out and doing something. Everyone has a flame, everyone has a passion. So keeping that passion and flame alive is imperative for our own mental health. And this is what sport's done for us, and this is what Wheelchair Aussie Rules has done for a lot of people. I've met a few people over the years that have coached and who are still playing now, obviously, who've just grown from that, and it's turned into a great community and family that we all love. We all look out for each other, we're all having coffees afterwards and things like that. So it's come along really, really well for everybody.
Yasmina, do you have anything to add to that?
Yeah, the sport itself has just enhanced my life. I'm so thankful to be part of it, because I just feel like I'm part of this amazing community, and we've all got each other's backs. So it's so good. Like, even though we play against each other, we also want to encourage each other to develop and grow. So it's just been an amazing experience, and it's just great to find something that I feel so passionate about. So yeah, I'm just really enjoying it. It's been amazing.
Now, you're both saying a lot of nice things about each other and the other players in the league, but surely the same rivalries exist in the wheelchair competition as they do in the AFL competition. Surely you hate Essendon and Richmond. You must hate Essendon and Collingwood. Do they still exist, the rivalries on the court?
Yeah, definitely. Probably not as much as we hate Carlton, but last time I was at Carlton, I came out of the room and my actual wheelchair was on bricks and I was still sitting on it. They were that quick. Sorry, mate. The rivalry is still there, but you have that tenacity and going hard at the ball when you're playing against each other. But when you come off the court, you're great mates and stuff like that. So reading the ball in a wheelchair is quite different too. I've played wheelchair basketball for Australia, and trying to read a football in a wheelchair is quite difficult. Bad enough for Steve Milne. So, sorry, personal dig there. Sorry. I love that grand final. Anyway, the second one anyway. So it's really hard to read in a wheelchair as well, because you get that uneven bounce that's going to go underneath your wheelchair. But the rivalry's still there, but we come off the court, we're all friends and stuff, and just there for each other, so it's been fantastic. And this guy who's just come in late, he's my brother. He's a fantastic, he's the Hawthorn captain and coach, so if you want to make your way over to the table, that'd be great. Thanks, Pete. Pete's got a beautiful story to tell about how he got into his life and into Wheelchair Aussie Rules. I got him in a few years ago, and he's just come along in Steeds, and he's a fantastic, lovable bloke. So he's definitely a brother of mine. So I love him heaps. So yeah, now get over there. Go on. Yeah, just duck. Oh, you can't. Sorry. Yeah. Just scoot. Yeah. Just dab as you're going past or something. So yeah. Thank you. Yeah.
Now, Brendan, you've played wheelchair basketball and tennis for Australia. Where does an AFL grand final fit in terms of great achievements?
Taking the premiership away next weekend will be fantastic for me. I suppose having played football before my accident, I didn't do much basketball or tennis before my accident, but a lot of football. So this coming back into this is a new thing for me, and taking away a premiership to whatever gold medals and stuff I got in basketball and stuff. This will be on the top shelf. So it'd be great to see a replica in Eddie's room somewhere, not in his bedroom. So that's where Nathan is, I think. So. Sorry, Ed, I'll probably get sacked now. So.
Not if you win the premiership, you won't.
No, yeah, I'll get home the cup. I've also got a footy record for you, Eddie. But yeah, it's right on the top there. I don't think I could go past that. Winning a football premiership to me would be fantastic. So yeah, I'm sure it would be for every other guys and girls come on to this sport. So having a Scottish lass come in is like having Mason Cox come in for us. So they're both adapted really well. This one's just a little bit shorter and a damn good looking. Mason's got his good looks, I guess, but too tall to do anything with. So yeah.
Before we let you go, your tips. Obviously, we know who you're going to say will win next Sunday. But what's the margin? How much will Collingwood win by? How much will Richmond win by?
I reckon it's going to be close. I reckon I'd like to keep it around double figures, so everyone's on the just the edge of the seats. 11, 12 points would be good for Collingwood to win, of course. So thanks, Mark. Just to keep on everyone on the edge of the seats would be fantastic.
Yasmina?
I'm going to go with, I think we're going to win by 13 points. Yeah.
Said with confidence as well. I like it. And now let's talk the AFL season as well. Who's your tip to make it through finals and play in the granny in the AFL season? Richmond, Collingwood?
Yeah, definitely. I'm definitely back in Richmond as well. And so, yeah, in all aspects, so hoping they'd win their second grand final.
Brendan, how about you?
I'd loved it to be Collingwood and Richmond again in the men's, and that'd be fantastic to go away with a double premiership this year. So that'd be fantastic for Collingwood, obviously. So yeah, it'd be great. So I think it'd be Collingwood, Richmond in both, so to take it away. So we've had a few injuries in Collingwood in the men's, so we get those players back, and I think we'll be fine. So we've given it to Richmond up to 3/4, and we died out a bit. So. In the last quarter due to injuries and things like that. But Richmond's a fantastic side. No, can't take that away from them. They've finished on top for a reason. So it's always good to try and get those blighters down. So it's great.
Fantastic. Well, I'm sure everyone agrees it's been fantastic hearing from both of you this afternoon. You're both confident going into next Sunday. We wish you both the best for the match and look forward to hearing how you go. Please put your hands together for Brendan and Yasmina. Now, supporting the wheelchair competition is just one of the great things that the Robert Rose Foundation is doing in their work. Let's hear from Peter Rose for an update on the other things that they're doing with the Robert Rose Foundation.
Thank you, Sarah. Brendan's a hard act to follow, I must say. It was wonderful to hear about the achievements of the Victorian Wheelchair Football League, which the Robert Rose Foundation is very